So Bernie Sanders has said this about Scandinavia. Let's take a listen.
I think we should look to countries like Denmark, like Sweden, and Norway, and learn from what they have accomplished for their working people.
In the United States.
Wow. So he says that we should.
Sounds crazy. Learn from people that are doing it right?
We can look around the world and see how people are doing things. Maybe we copy that. Maybe we copy a good idea.
I don't know about that.
So here, PBS or CNN, one of those N stands for news. CNN actually sent a reporter to Denmark to check it out. And this is what he found out.
McDonald's is used in the debate over minimum wage. In Denmark, there is no minimum wage. But because of union negotiations, people who work at McDonald's here make almost $20 an hour. And even though things are very costly in Denmark, this Big Mac costs less than in the United States.
And it's going to cost him his life.
And it's going to cost him.
But, you know.
So isn't that interesting? They make $20 an hour at McDonald's. You mean they didn't hire machines to do it when it hit $15 an hour? I wonder why they didn't do that.
It sounds like the workers are empowered to advocate for their needs. He said they have unions, and that's why they make $20 an hour at McDonald's.
So it's not. So by the way, their $20 an hour wage at McDonald's, that is not mandated by the government through a minimum wage. That is negotiated by strong unions, just as Hank said, strong unions. So you don't have to do that.
And when the economy serves everybody, when everybody gets to participate in the profits, it means that the people who sweep the floors should be paid an amount of money that they can use to live off of. It's not a complicated or a radical idea at all.
Well, it means that if you're making a profit, maybe you share some of that profit with the people who actually generate that profit for you, right? So that's what that, and it turns out everybody can make money.
Yeah.
Somebody can make a living wage selling hamburgers, working at a restaurant, and the person who owns the restaurant also makes money. Right now in America, we have the people who own the restaurants making lots of money, and the people who work there are poverty wage. That's what we have in America. Poverty wages at one of the richest companies. They make billions of dollars, fast food. They make billions. So those employees at McDonald's generating billions of dollars in profit for those fast food joints, they get slave wages.
They often rely on government programs to subsidize their needs, like healthcare, like Medicaid, Walmart workers, for instance, get a lot of food stamps, stuff like that. So they're getting subsidized. All these billionaires that run the big companies that pay minimum wages to people, they benefit greatly from that.
Compared to the nation's purchasing power. Go figure.
We have a society where the individual is perhaps freer in almost any other society because the government is securing the social contract so comprehensively. If you want to see the American dream for real, go to Denmark.
Wow. Wow. When the government isn't blowing all of its money, blowing things up, it can offer high-quality services that save its citizens a lot of money, time, and trouble. But that's not what we do here in America. We spend most of our money blowing stuff up. That's what I mean.
So wait, they don't spend most of their money on
defense?
On bases throughout the
No, they don't have 1,000
everywhere?
military installations around the world. 1,000 military installations. That's what the United States have. We have more than 1,000. They don't know how many because they don't count them because a lot of them are secret. So we have a guess that we have 1,000 military installations around the world. 1,000. Is that expensive? Do you think maybe we could have health care in America if we didn't do that? Maybe. So they did a PBS, Judy Woodruff. She did, they talked about Denmark. Here's what Judy Woodruff had to say about Denmark.
And with apologies to Disneyland, Denmark is now officially the happiest place on earth. The United Nations says so in a new survey of countries based on health data, job security rates, and other social and political factors. The United States ranked 13th. Burundi came in last.
So, right-wingers always scoff about Scandinavian countries being socialist, but really, they're free market capitalist economies with healthy social programs that benefit people. That's all they are. They're still free market, healthy capitalist economies. They just also take some of the money in the economy and they use it to help their workers and their citizens. It's a nice mixture.
It's very strange. It's hard to wrap your mind around the idea that the entire economy is made to serve the entire population.
And their economy's doing well because it's easier in Nordic countries for small business startups because companies are freed from the burden of supplying employees the things American companies are cutting back on, like pensions, benefits, and health coverage. See, in America, companies have to do all that stuff. Over in Denmark, the government takes care of that stuff for you.
Yeah, that's one of the strangest things about the Medicare debate or medical healthcare debate is that the companies aren't stronger advocates for unshackling themselves from the burden of providing healthcare and being in this insurance industry that's so insane. It's so clearly beneficial to everybody.
I think that Hillary is right though, and is that we need to stop this kind of crazy stuff that Sanders is proposing, and before anyone's life gets improved.
Yeah, people might live longer. We might get taller. We might be healthier. It's dangerous.
Wanting
it's
to
really
live
dangerous.
in a happy nation, it isn't socialist. It's selfish. That's what
I'll say.
Yeah. So let's. Who is for this, by the way, and who is against? Who's against this? What did Hillary Clinton say?
I think what Senator Sanders is saying certainly makes sense in the terms of the inequality that we have. But we are not Denmark. I love Denmark. We're the United States of America, and it's our job to rein in the excesses of capitalism so that it doesn't run amok and doesn't cause the kind of inequities that we're seeing in our economic system. But we would be making a grave mistake to turn our backs on what built the greatest middle class in the history of the world.
Yeah, so in response to Bernie Sanders' Scandinavian proposals, Hillary Clinton said, we're not Denmark. And then she goes on to talk about how great American entrepreneurship is and how that would go a long way, Hillary, that really would. Your talk about how great American entrepreneurship is. If people weren't terrified of going bankrupt when they got sick, that would go a lot farther. Your entrepreneur talk. How would you feel about it if you could go to the doctor without worrying about it, Hank?
I'd probably go get that thing looked at.
And they pay. What is that thing?
That's on my blog.
So people in Denmark pay about the same taxes as the people in New York, but try finding a happy person in New York. Just try.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders, his politics have been called Scandinavian, but Chris Christie's have been called Danish.